This week on Royally Us, how Duchess Kate is dealing with Meghan and Harry's departure as she opens up about the hardships of being a new mom.
We're at the heart of raising the next generation. Sort of the science proves the importance of the early years.
Plus, there are rumors that Harry and Meghan will be sitting down for an interview with Ellen DeGeneres, while her father, Thomas Markle, threatens to spill all to the press.
I think they've hurt the Queen. I think they've hurt the royals.
And are the royal kids heading to HBO? We will have all the answers. Hello to our fellow royal lovers and welcome to Royally Us, where each week we will give you a royal roundup on our favorite family. I'm your host, Christina Garibaldi, and I am joined by royal commentator Carly Ledbetter. Hi, how are you?
Good.
It's so good to see you.
So good to see you, Christina. We have so much to cover.
Oh my God, yes we do. Of course, Carly is a royal expert from HuffPost and will help me break down everything on the royal beat. So let's get started with a roundup of the royal headlines. And to kick things off, no, we are not talking about Meghan and Harry.
We're not.
We
it's
will.
a new week.
We will, but not right now. We are talking about Duchess Kate because she had a big week.
She really
Yeah.
did. She launched a solo initiative, and I think it's such a big project for her, especially as a future queen.
Yeah, definitely. So the future queen, recently spent the day touring the UK talking about her new initiative about early childhood development, and during that time she actually opened up about being a new mom to Prince George back in 2013. So what did she say?
I think this is something that all new parents can probably relate to. Kate was talking about being a new mom, first-time mother, and Prince William was working the night shift as a helicopter pilot at the time. And she was saying she was in this little village 5.5 hours from London. She said she was so isolated and so alone because she didn't have any friends or family nearby. And all of the parents, that really resonated with them. And it's part of the reason why she wanted to stop by this center where parents can get together and talk about those really hard things.
Yeah, well, it's so true. I mean, being a new mom, my daughter's 9 months old, you know, it is isolating at first because you're like, what am I doing? I have no idea what's going on. And especially for husbands traveling, yes, even though she is a duchess and probably has a lot of help, it seems like they kind of wanted to do things on their own. You know, they didn't really have nannies at first, right? And then, you know, so it's very isolating, and especially when your husband is around at first, you're going through all these emotions, your hormones are all out of whack. You're like, what am I doing?
I can imagine. Even the Duchess and the Duke have really hard times.
Yes, they're just like us. Like you said, this isn't the first time she opened up about motherhood and how it affected her mental health. Here's a look at Kate back in 2017, opening up about how motherhood changes your identity. Take a look.
Nothing can really prepare you for the sheer, overwhelming experience of what it means to become a mother. It is full of complex emotions of joy, exhaustion, love and worry, all mixed together. Your fundamental identity changes overnight. You go from thinking of yourself as primarily an individual to suddenly being a mother first and foremost.
So yeah, like you said, that she is very open and honest about this, and it shows that, like, you know, she's going through the same emotions that a lot of other people are going through too.
Definitely. It shows just how relatable she is, which I think is important because we're looking at someone who wears the literal crown jewels, and it's really nice to sort of see the royals out of the stratosphere that we put them in.
Yeah.
And that, you know, they do struggle just like us. They do, you know, have to cook and clean and look after a new baby, even though it seems like we might not have much in common.
Yeah.
At least when she says things like this, we think that they are just like us.
No, definitely. And I wonder because, you know, we can talk about this a little bit later, but there was all these rumors about, you know, her fight with Meghan and things like that. But it seems like Meghan kind of went through the same thing when she felt so isolated when she was becoming a new mom as well.
Definitely. And I think we can look at it with Kate and Meghan. They're just in-laws. We all have, you know, in-laws or family members that we might, you know, feel a certain way about. Yeah. And yeah, she goes through stuff just like we do.
Right. And Kate had really bad pregnancies too. She was
did.
Hospitalized for, you know, severe morning sickness. So I give her credit for going through it 2 more times after that.
Right. Because going through that and then going through that in the face of the public where everyone's scrutinizing everything you're doing, everything you're wearing, if you're smiling or if you're not smiling, and then meanwhile she's battling hyperemesis and probably barely able to make it through the day.
And like, but the judgment doesn't stop once you give birth, because now every time she goes out in public with the child, you know, is she are they like when Meghan, are they holding the baby correctly? Are they, you know, they're dressed properly? It's like everything is judged.
Can you imagine your every moment being scrutinized as a new mom? And especially with royals, and Kate has done this with all 3 kids. As soon as she gives birth, basically 12 hours after, she stands out in front of the world.
I don't know
in a dress.
how she did that.
Right.
Because that is just, you feel disgusting. All you want to do is just like crawl in bed with your baby, and now she's got to be full glam, wearing heels, because your feet get swollen. You probably can't even fit in those heels. It's just, I give her a lot of credit.
And here are the paparazzi waiting to photograph you.
Oh, God, that's a tradition that should stop.
Yeah, thank goodness we're not royals.
Thank God, thank God. Well, on top of dealing with, you know, with motherhood and her children, she's also dealing with the fallout of Harry and Meghan. So like we said, you know, her relationship with Meghan, in the press at least, it seems it hasn't always been great. I mean, what are you hearing? How is she dealing with this fallout?
So Kate is actually playing peacemaker between William and Harry right now. And I think we forget, Kate is 38. She met William when she was 18.
Yeah.
So she's known Harry for 20 years, which is crazy. So while they're navigating this fallout and the rift between the brothers, I think we're seeing Kate really try to come together for the, you know, the good of the family, keep everyone together. Maybe we'll see a trip to Canada. That would be a really great sign of support. But, you know, like we said, they're in-laws. They're going to go through good times and bad times, like Harry said, with family. And yeah, we'll see if Kate can broker some peace.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so a source did tell us that, you know, Kate is kind of almost mourning her relationship with Harry because they were really close. They did a lot together. You know, like you said, she's known him since she's 18. For a long time, it was just the 3 of them going to a lot of public events, so they got very close. So I think, you know, probably not having Harry in her life as a constant is probably a little bit difficult for both Kate and William.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just watching that relationship change, because Harry sort of was the perpetual third wheel, the one always smiling and joking with them. And it's been a big change for him as he navigates being a husband and, you know, pulling away from his own family to look after Meghan and little Archie.
Yeah, definitely. And we're also hearing, because, you know, Harry and Meghan have decided to take a bit of a step back, it's been a lot more work for Kate and William. I mean, probably going forward, they're going to probably have to do a lot more public events, I would imagine.
And the difference between Harry and William is that William has always been on track for king, so they still have to focus on, you know, the events that are important to him, that he'll continue when he eventually becomes the future king of England. And Robert Lacey of The Crown, who's a historical consultant, said that we're going to see Eugenie and Beatrice actually step up.
I like that.
Yeah, so as we know, Prince Andrew stepped away from royal duties.
As he should.
Yes, so it'll be really interesting to see if his daughters choose to enter the spotlight and maybe take the place of Meghan and Harry.
Interesting. Oh, all the inner workings of the crown.
There's so much behind closed doors.
Yes. So Kate has been making a lot of public appearances this week. A lot because it was the 75th anniversary of the Holocaust. She did a lot of ceremonies she went to. She actually took some photographs as well. So what has she been up to?
She did. Kate has always been really passionate about children, as you can see from her latest initiative, and photography. She actually has an art history degree. So she released 2 photos that she took of Holocaust survivors and items that were important with them, with their grandchildren. And I think we're seeing a very vulnerable side of Kate here. She's shared photos of her family before for birthdays, but seeing her share her own work is something that is really special, and we'll likely see it for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. She does a beautiful job.
She really did.
She really does. So speaking of the anniversary of the Holocaust, that brings us to our royal history moment of the week. Now, for those of you that have binged The Crown, which Carly and I have, so good, you found yourself this season doing some research on Prince Philip's mother, Princess Alice. What is Prince Alice's tie to the Holocaust?
Well, I think The Crown missed the biggest part of her story, actually, because we found out that she wears nun habits and she's, you know, smoking and cursing and so different than
fabulous.
She really, really is. She's one of my favorite characters on The Crown.
Really was.
But they missed the biggest part of her story, which was that she saved a family during the Holocaust. She was living in Greece during the Nazi occupation of Greece, and she hid them upstairs and didn't even tell her own children, some of whom were married to Nazi sympathizers.
That's crazy.
And one of the relatives of the people that she saved, Evie Cohen, said, "We wouldn't be here without Princess Alice," which is just incredibly special.
Yeah, no, she's, if you haven't watched The Crown, watch her episode. You know, she calls Prince Philip Bubbikins.
Bubbikins?
one of a small little aspect of her incredible life.
It's one of the best episodes.
It really is. It really is. Well, Prince William actually honored Princess Alice at a Holocaust Memorial Day service. Take a look.
My family would not exist without the courageous act of Princess Alice. Her story of incredible courage must keep being told in her memory.
Such an inspiring woman. Like I said, go watch The Crown if you haven't. Yeah. We have to talk about the royal kiddos in our pint-sized palace segment. Now, this is so exciting because the children are headed to HBO.
They are, which I don't think has ever been said before.
No.
But Gary Janetti, who royal fans know, has one of the most popular royal Instagram accounts. He basically pretends to be Prince George,
the funniest Instagram.
It's a very sassy Prince George, who often, targets Meghan, but in certain times will show sympathy for Meghan.
He does, yes.
But yeah, he has a show called The Prince coming to HBO, and we're going to see super big names like Helen Cumming, Orlando Bloom.
Yeah. So Gary is going to be voicing Prince George.
He will be.
I think Orlando is Prince Harry, I believe, which is fantastic.
Do they know each other? I got to reach out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an animated series, and it's just going to be fantastic. And Gary is he executive produced Family Guy, so he does have a history in this, and I'm sure it's going to be hysterical.
Yes, the royal family typically does not love shows about them like The Crown.
Right.
Prince William has repeatedly said how much he doesn't like it. So I don't think this is going to be a show that the royals will be watching, but we will be watching.
But we will be watching.
Yes.
I guess the royals really have no say in whether or not that they can move forward with something like this.
Right. I think it only matters when it's the BBC or a program in Britain, and then they have more control over what can be shown and what can't be shown. But yeah, with something like HBO, there are just
and especially
no rules.
something with kids, I would imagine that they're probably super sensitive about it.
Right. And with The Crown, the palace actually issued a statement in The Guardian saying, this is all historical fiction. None of this is real. So we can probably expect a statement from the palace in my inbox.
Yeah.
As soon as this airs, saying, just a reminder, we don't approve of any of this.
I'm going to believe The Crown is real. Well, Gary, of course, will certainly have a lot of material to work with since the royal kids haven't been shy over the years about letting their personalities shine while in public. And to prove it, take a look at the 10 times the royal kids embarrassed their parents. So good. All right, so Carly, it's time to put some of those royal rumors to rest. So let's spill the royal tea.
The royal tea right now is that we are expecting a tell-all interview from Harry and Meghan.
Yes, give it to me.
We want to hear their side.
Yes.
And Harry and Meghan typically do interviews with their friends. When they did that big documentary in October,
Right.
they knew Tom Bradbury, who produced it, and he said, we can expect a fiery tell-all from Harry and Meghan, and that it, quote, won't be pretty. So if that's not good TV, I don't know what is.
I don't know what is.
But since they only really speak with friends, I think we're going to see Ellen DeGeneres get the first tell-all as opposed to some other media moguls that are gunning for it. Meghan and Ellen have been friends for a few years, and Ellen also said that she visited them at Windsor Castle this summer, got to hold and feed baby Archie.
Oh my God.
She's publicly defended them when they took private airplanes this summer. So I think that she's the likely first choice.
And Ellen always makes people feel very comfortable.
She really does.
So I think that's probably a safe choice too. I wonder how fiery the interview would be with Ellen.
Right.
I don't know.
If someone would ask the tough questions.
If she would ask the tough questions, or if it's more like, here's your platform, here's exactly what you want to say. And I can't imagine them talking ill about the royal family.
I don't think that they will, because
Yeah.
Harry's already spoken about why he left. And he said, I needed to do this for the good of my family, but he's been really, really respectful of obviously his grandmother, the Queen, and his brother and his father. So I don't think we'll hear any juicy details. I think the juiciest stuff has already happened, which is that they left the literal royal family and moved to Canada.
Yeah.
But there got to be some more stories that we
There
don't
has
know.
to be. I wonder if they're going to sit down and do like some burning questions with Ellen.
Right. Yeah, and we'll get to see Meghan, who hasn't really spoken out about why she left.
About why she left.
Harry's had this platform, but maybe we'll get to hear more from Meghan and what she's going to do in Canada and how she's finding the press there.
It's kind of crazy that things have just kind of went radio silent between them, right? Like we haven't seen any photos, which is what they wanted.
It is.
But like we really haven't heard from it. It just kind of like just went away.
Right, yeah, and I'm in contact with the palaces, and right now it's sort of a dead zone. I can always expect a comment back, but it's figuring out who their new team is. And I think the only updates that we'll get will be on Instagram.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to your social media accounts.
Well, if we don't get a sit down with Meghan and Ellen and Harry, we can be sure that we are going to get a whole lot of Thomas Markle, and we did not ask for that.
No.
He just doesn't know how to stop. So Thomas spoke out on Good Morning Britain and threatened to give a media interview every 30 days until Meghan speaks with him. Take a listen.
Well, there doesn't, for me, there is no other way to reach them. I mean, like I say, I pretty much will give an interview and wait for 30 days for some kind of answer back. If I don't get one back, then I'll try another interview. That's about the only shot I have. I can't get through to the royals or I can send a letter. I'm not sure it'll get to them. I have done that. I've spoken and sent letters to Doria to get to Meghan as well, and that hasn't happened. So, no, I'm at their mercy.
Why? Why is he doing this?
I know. It's really a sad situation.
It really is.
In Kensington and Buckingham Palace, whenever I reach out for comment on any of the wild claims that Thomas has made, they never respond back.
I wonder why.
Right. This is not a strategy to win back your daughter, who specifically asked for you not to give any more media interviews. Thomas famously leaked a letter that his daughter wrote earlier this year that's currently involved in a court case. And the one thing she explicitly said was, if you love me, stop talking to the press. And he's reached out to the press, he's reached out to her, nothing's worked. So you would think that he would know if he was radio silent, maybe he has a better chance of getting into contact. He's still never met Prince Harry in person.
It's crazy. I mean, he said that he's tried to reach out to Meghan's mom, Doria, but that's obviously radio silent too. It's like, I wonder if he's getting paid for these interviews, and that's why he keeps doing it, because, why else? I mean, for the publicity, but I'm sure this is how he's kind of making his living now.
Right, and if we remember, it all goes back to when he took those stage photos before the royal wedding, and this is what started the dispute, that he was getting paid for photos, now he's getting paid for interviews. There is no difference.
No, it's so sad. I feel so bad for her, because, the last person that you'd ever think to air all your dirty laundry or speak bad about you is your dad.
Right.
Like, and
your half-sister.
And your half-sister.
Samantha Markle.
Yeah, she don't stop either.
They are not going away anytime soon.
No, unfortunately. It's like almost like, No, I guess I was going to say it's almost like maybe she should reach out and just be like, okay, we'll have a conversation, then you can stop. But then he'll go and talk about their meeting. It's
Right.
Like, it's a lose-lose situation.
There's no win. And even, you know, the royals are notoriously not public. And Thomas Markle 2 years ago said that he spoke to Prince Harry and that Prince Harry reportedly said, give Trump a chance.
Right.
So, you know, he's already breaking all of these royal rules.
Yeah.
He's leaking all of these rumors to the press. It's a lose-lose situation for him.
It really is. It really is. Now, we know the royals have a lot of crazy rules, so each week we wanted to highlight a rule that leaves us a bit perplexed. So this is our crazy royal rule of the week. So what are we going to focus? They do. We can go on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So what is the royal rule that we are focusing on this week?
So get ready for this because we're actually both breaking it right now. Royal women or royal men, maybe in the future, whoever will wear nail polish. Royal women typically only wear natural colors, so they would wear a light pink, specifically Essie's ballet slippers.
So there's a specific shade.
A specific one. It's only $9, so you too can look like a royal for less. But Queen Elizabeth has worn it, and Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle both wore it on their wedding day.
Okay.
The royals typically like to stay away from bright colors like this, especially red, because it was known as a color for women of the night, which I should have paid attention to that.
Right.
But they also wear the nude or the natural color just because if their nail polish chips during an engagement, you won't be able to see it.
That's true.
Yeah. And it also won't distract from their work at hand. So sometimes if you're looking at, Kate walking to an event and she's wearing red nail polish,
right?
Maybe you would just lose your mind.
I would love her if she did a neon green or something like that. These
One day.
Crazy long tips. But you spoke to a royal expert about this, or a etiquette expert, and they said that it was like a vulgar color too, right?
Yes. I reported on this a few years ago with 3 experts, and it's tardy to the British people or vulgar. So.
Well, Meghan actually did break this rule.
Meghan did, and so did Kate. Kate actually wears red nail polish on her toes. She's worn that to a few events.
Okay.
Crazy.
How dare she?
I know, and get ready for this, but Meghan also wore what looked like black nail polish to the 2018 British Fashion Awards. Caused a stir, just Meghan,
breaking
destroying
rules.
the monarchy with
God
her dark
forbid.
nail polish. Yes.
Craziness ensues. Well, Carly, thank you so much for breaking down everything royals this week. There was a lot to get to, and it was a lot of fun, as always.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And make sure to tune in next week. And for much more on the royals, head on over to usmagazine.com. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.